In this video, we're going to talk about the features available in our calendar view and how to customize them. So here is our calendar demo page, and over here is our calendar view. So over here, you'll see two types of events. Both of them are recurring events. The second spans 2 days, so you'll see that there's a blue filled container for events that span multiple days. From the calendar, if you click on the event, you'll see a little pop-up. Here you have the choices of adding the event to your calendar or sharing the event. If you click on the expand button or the event name itself, you'll go into the event page. So now let's talk about the other features of the calendar. As you'd expect, you can move backwards between months. And if you go too far, you can always click on today to go back to today. If you click on the date itself, you can scroll through years as well as months. You can search for events. This allows you to search for the event that's happening on this current month. You can also choose between month and week view. Finally, you can also change the time zone as well as toggle between 12 hours and 24-hour clocks. So as you can see, it changes to 1900 when you change the 24-hour clock and 7 p.m. when you switch to 12 hours. You can also select to view your calendar in a different time zone. So if we search New York, here is what the events are like within the New York time zone. Now let's look at how we can configure our calendar. If we head into our WordPress admin, we go to Events, Calendars. In this case, we only have one calendar, the default calendar, so we're going to click on it to edit the settings. Right now, we're focused on the calendar display, and I'll talk about the list display in another video. In the calendar you saw, we default to a month display, not a week display. If we select on week, we have the option to select what time the day starts at. So for example, if I'm a gym and I know that my earliest events start at 7 a.m., I might want to set my week view at 6 a.m. Let's save that and see how that affects our calendar demo. So now we are on week view and our events start at 6 a.m. So if you imagine that we have 7 a.m. classes, they will show up here. Even if your calendar starts at 6 a.m., if you scroll up, you can see all the other timings all the way up till 12 midnight. Currently, we set the default month to current month and current year. However, let's say, for example, you run a conference and that conference only takes place in August, in which case it doesn't make sense to show the current month because the only event that's happening the whole year is in August. You want to change the month to display to be August. So now let's save and see how that affects the calendar. So now you'll see that the calendar defaults to showing what's going on in August. Finally, if you live in the US, your week starts on Sunday. So let's change that. Save and refresh. Great, and now your week starts on Sunday. So this is how you can configure your calendar at a calendar level. But there are also some global settings that are worth talking about. Let's head to the event settings. Here we are in the default settings. What I want to talk about is the time format and auto-detect time zone. So right now, by default, your calendar displays a 12-hour clock, but you can set it to a 24-hour clock if you want. Finally, with auto-detect time zone, you can decide if visitors see event times in their own local time zone, regardless of where they are in the world, or if they see events using your site's default time zone. The last thing I want to talk about is embedding the calendar. So if you head to Events, Calendars, and click on your calendar, and then click on the Embed tab, you'll see 3 different ways to embed the calendar. The first is the calendar link. This is auto-generated by EventKoi. If you want more control and choose where you want to embed the calendar, you can always use our shortcode. Finally, if you want to create the calendar in the block editor, you can always just create your page or your post and add the EK calendar block, and then configure everything the way you want. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about EventKoi's calendar.